this is Sherry Veronica. This is Nigel Bounty, also known as Cappy Pinder. Nigel Pinder. And he is off to the hotel in St. Philip, probably not far from where he lives. He lived in a big house in St. Philip, and now he's gone to an even bigger house in St. Philip. Seems as though he's going to be with friends, and he's going to probably be around the person who gave him up, because it is being alleged that someone within the prison system, someone that worked for him, one of his soldiers, they gave him up. They squealed, they talked, they told all the secrets. And right now, he is 49 years old, out of Cox Hill, St. Philip, and he appeared before acting magistrate Angela Knight, District C Magistrates Court, under extremely heavy police escort. What for? Who are the police afraid of? Another gang? Okay, they're probably afraid of what? His soldiers coming to rescue him? Fat chance, don't you think? But anyhow, he has been accused not of planning the murder. I explained this already on another blog. He isn't accused of planning the murder of Randy Brathwaite. It seems as though Randy Brathwaite, I keep telling you guys, you need to be careful who you sit next to when you're playing dominoes, when you're drinking your rum, when you're going out to. You need to be very careful who you're standing next to, because when they're aiming for one person, you can get a stray bullet. It's called a casualty of war. It's a casualty of war, okay? So it seems as though that is what happened to Randy, okay? But the other ones, when you hear about Pippi Nord, Junior Tate, that was planned. There was a conspiracy. A conspiracy means that he and other people, it could be one other person, but other people plan. When you know where he is, you know where he frequents, you know where he lives, you know his girlfriend's house. When he goes there, we can, look out for him in those areas, and we're gonna get him. And then he also planned to kill Shane Ronaldo Paris. There was a video of Shane's mom sitting next to his body. Seems as though it was a Sunday, as far as my memory goes. It was a Sunday, and everyone, they were all off the streets by then, because his son was murdered, and every place that had a place where you could sit, you know how they sit and they hang out, every place was empty. Place was empty because he had put out word that he's coming after his son's killers. The word was out. The streets were hot. The streets were hot and talking, okay? I was getting blogs left and right and center. I put up maybe 10% of what I get, because and not only that I put up 10%, most people just want to talk to me. They just want to talk and say, well, I just want to say this to you. I don't want you to put it up. And if you do put it up, don't show the writing, because people may recognize the style of it. People are scared. People in Barbados live under some heavy fear. And I understand. I do understand. But yeah, they said that, oh yeah, get back to Shane. The streets were empty. And maybe like weeks later, he ventured out and says, well, everything seems to have cooled down. I'm just going to, just go and see my friends. I hang out with my friends or whatever. He went out and it was over. And the photo of the guys who took him out, they were wearing white, like, the hazmat outfits that they wear here in the States. Hazmat meaning hazardous material. Hazardous materials, and they shorten it HAZ, H-A-Z, MAT, M-A-T, hazmat, hazardous materials. They were dressed in all white, like, I guess they didn't want to leave their DNA behind, but all of that was talked about. And they have Nigel. Now, he's taller than you think, because sometimes he does videos of himself, and I guess when you're pointing the camera down on yourself, it may take on a shorter image, like they say you're 10 pounds heavier when the cameras, you know, the lighting and everything, but he always seemed shorter when he was doing his videos, his selfies or whatever. But here, look, he looks taller. His back is actually straight, so he is in good health. When someone said that he wasn't eating from the police, you know, how do the police cook food there and feed you? But anyhow, they were saying that he wasn't eating when he was at the police station, and he would only eat if his attorneys or certain people brought his food. But you can see that you can see that there's a grayish tint to his aura. It's gray. He's not himself, because you do see Bounty, because he does put up video. He's not shy to put up videos. I've never heard him string two sentences together ever, but he does put up video, you know. I don't say that, you know, but I just want to come on here and say, you know, I want to just show you my face, you know. That's how he talks. That's how he talks. But you guys love him, right? But anyhow, yeah. When I went back to one of the videos that I had of him, and when the person said that he wasn't eating well, he wasn't trusting the police. You remember how they would like feed you something and then you have bellyache and then you die while in custody. He wasn't about to have that happen to him, okay? But getting back to what I'm saying, when I looked at his face, the mug shot that was put out when he's smiling, if you look at the inside on the sides of his mouth, you can see that he wasn't eating well. You can see that he's a little malnourished, and because there's a gray tint. I see things like that. Okay, I see things like that. Yeah, so there's a gray tint. There was a gray tint to his aura. You know, you could tell that, you know, something is off in terms of, you know, nutrients and that kind of stuff. But I'm gonna play this and see him walking very upright. Here, I think I have it off mute. Let me make sure. Yeah, and I'm gonna turn it up. Here it goes. Oh, here it goes. The video is by Barbados today. You can see there. It's gonna play again. Hopefully. Oh yeah. You can see the way he walks. He's not flat-footed. He walks on his heel and he rolls on his heel. So he's not flat-footed. He looks pretty healthy. Although he wasn't eating meals from the police, and he's a little off where his, you know, nutrients and, you know, his regular meals are concerned. Maybe he lost some weight too, but his gait, he's a strong, Nigel Pinder, he's a strong specimen. He's a strong guy, okay? I don't know if he has, I don't have his medical records. You know, I don't have the wild files on him. You know, I don't have no medical records to know what's going on internally with him. But he seems, his gait, the way he rolls on his heel onto his toes, and, you know, just the way he towers over these guys. Yeah, he is a strong guy. He's a strong guy. And his voice, when he responded to the crowd, you know, deep. I can see girls, you know, although he's a gangster and he has a reputation. Yeah, he was working for the government, he was working. So you mean he would go into work and supervise people with the fact that he was a top gangster in St. Philip? How did that work though? How does it work? But then again, you know what? Okay, I'll pull back, because you know who's running things here, though. Marika. Oh God, I just don't understand. That's why sometimes I think that this world is controlled, totally controlled, and you have to watch you have to watch yourself. You have to self-analyze daily. You always have to watch yourself, because something is going on and it makes no sense. It just does not make sense. But anyhow, you think that they're going to have a new supervisor, an acting supervisor, until he gets out, he gets bail? Okay, what are your when do you think he'll get bail? You think they'll keep him there for 3 months, 6 months? Because they can't let him out right away. He's going to do a bail application right off. He's supposed to go back into October 8th. He's supposed to reappear October 8th. And you know he's going to go with his attorney with a bail application. But I can't see them doing it right away. But yeah, it should be interesting. It should be very interesting what happens with this, how this progresses, because he has had a reputation for decades. His brother was in charge. His brother died, and it just fell on him. And then you saw him asserting himself a little bit more after the brother died. You saw him asserting himself. You saw it. You did see it, the ego and everything, the ego is not even real, but people like to floss on ego. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how this pans out. I hope, because they always, when the cases are thrown out, it's because the police don't have all of their ducks in a row. I'm sorry, I'm seeing something here on the side. Here, let me show you what I'm laughing at. Let me show you. Yeah, so a jean shirt. Oh my God! So that's it. That's a jean shirt. People talk about me. They talk about me, but yeah, they're no good. They're no good. Anyhow, he's represented by senior counsel Angela Mitchell Giddens, and he was not required to plead to the charges, which are all indictable. Yeah, but yeah, he's looking strong. He's rolling on his heels. He'd be okay. There's a whole lot of friends. He has friend enemies. He has a whole lot in there. I'm gonna let it play one more time. I know you love your criminals. Yeah. He's a guy of few words. I've told you that before. Very, very few words. Yeah. See? You see the gait? You see his gait? G-A-I-T. G-A-I-T. Not G-A-T-E, okay? Gait. His body, even his head, how it tilts back there. See there? That's a strong dude. And he pushes off on his tippy toes and his heel. So he probably, his arch is probably there. A lot of people don't have that. Yeah, strong dude. He's not bow-legged. His legs are pretty straight. There's a little pants like kind of tight. Anyhow, this is Sherry Veronica.
Help me spread the word about Naked Departure via social media. Subscribe and share to show support and love for our channels.